Hey y'all, the employment situation report came out last week and I wasn't able to throw up my video, so I'm going to go ahead and do it now. We did have job gains. They were down 7,000 from last month. Last month, after being revised, April had 179,000 jobs that were added to the market. In May, we are projecting only 172,000. With current federal policy, the way that it is with immigration and it's restructuring its own employment stock, there has been an upward pressure on the unemployment for groups such as Hispanic and American Black populations. The unemployment number seems to be unchanged at 4.3%. There were 7.301 million Americans unemployed. When you break that down, Black unemployment decreased by 0.7%. We went from 7.3 to 6.6%. White unemployment increased by 0.1%. Asian unemployment increased by 0.5%, and Hispanic unemployment remained at 5%. Um, I would have to say that I'm going to wager that Black unemployment kind of had that downtick based off of the industries that actually had job gains for the past month. And so we're talking about leisure, hospitality, healthcare, and local government. Um, of course, it's very commonly thought that Black people generally get a lot of employment opportunities with government in general and in healthcare. But what really puts the question mark over my head is the leisure and hospitality, and it makes me think: should I watch the Black unemployment going into fall to see if it goes back up once we get past the international and the national sporting events and the summer activities that really drives those industries. Going to wages, the average hourly wage did increase 0.3%, so that's about 12 cents to $37.53 per hour. Now the problem is that the BLS reported the inflation numbers for May, and month over month, inflation did increase by 0.5%. So essentially, the average wage lost to 0.2%. So that's a loss in purchasing power. And when you hear someone say purchasing power, they mean how much can $1 buy, right? So essentially, that $1 will buy 0.2% less of a good or service. So let's say milk or eggs or what have you. Um, so though nominally face value, it looks like the average hourly wage is increasing, but as we know, prices are increasing, cost is outpacing wages. And so, in fact, you are not making any gains in terms of wage. So, overall, when looking at the report and looking at the other reports, I just want to point to some other numbers, specifically job openings, the hiring numbers, the quits, the layoffs, and the dismissals. And we did have in April, because the JOLTS report, the actual job numbers report, doesn't come out for May until July, but we do have April's to kind of give us an estimate of what we're looking at going forward. There was about 7.6 million open positions in April, right? And at that point, it did surpass unemployment, because of course we know that unemployment in May was 7.3, and I believe that in April it was also 7 million as well. I would have to look back, but I believe that open positions has outpaced it. Now, normally I would say that that's a good sign because there are more jobs than people looking for work. That gives more bargaining power to the employee. Um, but we have to look at the other numbers to get a better depiction. And so when we're looking at the hiring rate, okay, it looks like between February and April, jobs were hiring, and it fluctuated between 3.1 to 3.5%. Whereas their layoff and dismissals was fluctuating between 3.1 and 3.4%. So it looks like though these jobs are hiring, they're removing people almost at identical rates, which gives you the impression that they're really just keeping existing numbers. They're not really increasing the labor force in these positions. When you look at the quits number, they fluctuated between 1.9 and 2%. And the most ideal situation, like utopian labor market situation, would be a high hiring rate, a low layoffs rate, and then a decent quits rate. And so the quits rate is speaking to confidence. And I'm going to have to make another video about confidence and why it's important in markets and human transaction. But it speaks to the confidence of a worker, of an individual, being able to forego their current employment and engage in alternatives. You have to have some sort of confidence to be able to say that I don't like this situation, I'm getting out of it, and I can find another situation. With those numbers pretty much being stable, it's telling me that the confidence is not growing. With the hiring rate numbers and the layoff numbers pretty much competing with one another, it tells me that employers are not increasing their stock, which is not increasing the pool of people at work and being gainfully employed. So I would have to suggest, or I would have to infer or calculate based off of these numbers that the market is still in the hands of the firms. Even in these tumultuous times where policies and markets are kind of shaky, it still seems that the firms are in control. And if we want a better environment that's suited for the working class, we need to pursue higher wages. We need to pursue better regulation over these firms, and we need to have a federal government that's going to be more focused on domestic policy and the actual rights and structures that the working class have to deal with.